What's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. So today we've got a tutorial that's going to be on support and resistance. So in technical analysis, when you guys are going to be looking at charts, you want to be able to read charts and know what's happening, to know what could be happening in the future. I'd probably say support and resistance is probably the most principal part of technical analysis, and it's definitely a place that you should start off and you should learn initially before going on and learning other parts. Obviously, there's more depth into technical analysis. You know, you have different trends and trend lines, candlestick formations, and chart patterns as well. But to start off, I definitely think the first thing you need to learn to do when you're looking at charts is to learn what is support and resistance. So basically, in a nutshell, what support and resistance is, it's prices on a chart where price tends to react to it. So there tends to be a change of direction often, and so we're going to go into this chart and we're going to show you a few examples of support and resistance, and then you guys can see for yourself exactly what it is. Now, when we're looking for support and resistance zones, the higher the time frame, the more confirmation that you have that the support and resistance zone is stronger. So usually, when you're starting off making some support and resistance lines, you want to make sure that you go onto like a high time frame to start off. Say like you're someone who may like to trade on a 15-minute, a 1 hour, and a 4 hour chart. Maybe you want to go onto the 4 hour or the day chart to get your first few initial support and resistance zones on that chart. So we go over onto the daily time frame. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we want to look at this chart. We want to see some areas where the price basically changes direction. So we want to click on this line here. I'm usually going to go from left to right, right? And you can kind of see here at first that the price came up, down, up, down, up, down. So this area here, you can kind of say that it has some sort of resistance. So we're going to click and we're going to create a line there. And then what we want to see as well, we want to see as time goes on, whether the price action reacts again with this line or not. So we're going to take another look and see if we've got anything else coming up and anything elsewhere. So we can kind of see here as well. You kind of see it acted as a resistance here, acted as a support here, and then a support here again. So we'll put another line here. And then just going to keep going through and finding our different zones where the price tends to touch before changing of direction and coming back down. And we'll probably go for another one around here. And this zone here. Here. And last one there. So the difference between support and resistance is a resistance. Imagine a resistance is kind of like a roof. So it's when price is going up and touches it, then you call it resistance. On the other hand, when price is coming down to a level, like down here, and touches it like that, then that would be then called a support. So imagine a support as like a floor. So a resistance is a roof, and a support is a floor. Now, just because something acts as a resistance doesn't mean that it can't then act as support later on. As you see here, this acts as a resistance a few times here, and then let's find one actually this one here. So you can see how it acted as a resistance here. It bounced off and came back down, and then later on, once price had broke through and came back down, it then started to act as support here. As time went on. Now, so these would be kind of for AVAX that I've got up at the moment. These are kind of the basic ones. Now, as you want to go back and zoom in a bit closer to what price actions do nowadays, that's where you want to start zooming in a little bit. And then basically on the smaller time frames, you would then go and repeat the same process and just pick off the biggest support and resistance lines on the smaller time frames as well. Now, one thing that's really important to note is that support and resistance, they're not lines as such. So I know I've drawn them on as lines, like right just for the minute, but usually we refer to them as zones or levels. And the reason for that is because, it's not going to exactly touch this line every single time. Like a good example is here, how price came up and came back down a few times, but it didn't come to the same level. He didn't come to exactly the same price each time. There was a slight difference in it, and as you can see, when it then acted as a support a little bit later on, it wasn't exact again. So usually what we do to draw the levels in, instead of using lines, we use rectangles. So you want to kind of pick off the lowest part of the level, which I would probably say is here, and then bring it up to the highest part, which is about here. So I'm gonna go across and do the same thing elsewhere now. You can probably move this one up a little bit higher. So take the rectangle again. Probably start one off around about here. And then bring it off around about there. And there's no real need to do it on those last two because they haven't had enough touches on the zone yet. And so yes, that's kind of it in a nutshell. So basically, why support and resistance zones work is because most people that are trading these coins, right, like Avalanche, for example, is going to be like me and you, or whichever institution is going to be sat at the computers and they're going to be looking at the charts just like me and you. So other traders and investors, they're going to see also these same things as me, you. They're going to see that this price action touched here, here, and here. So this the price of Avalanche came down into this zone now. Then most other traders would also see the same thing, and that's why price tends to respect these zones. Now, the more often a price touches on a zone, we say that zone becomes then more valid. So if something just has like one or two touches, I mean, it's still okay and it's still viable, but something that's like 5, 6, or 7 touches, then we usually say is more of a viable support or resistance zone than one that just has 1 or 2 touches on it. And so yeah, so that's it basically for support and resistance. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it with trend lines, which then we will, do some more diagonal kind of stuff. And there's also loads of other stuff to go into in technical analysis with candlestick formations, chart patterns, indicators as well. There's like loads of stuff. But today I just wanted to do a little basic tutorial on support and resistance zones. So one other thing I wanted to show you guys was this thing that I've got over at News Crypto on their platform. Now these guys on the platform, they've got loads of stuff that you can use. I've already done some tutorials showing you how to use some of the stuff, and on the professional version, they've also got a nice little tool called Moonland Pro. Now, what Moonland Pro is, as you can probably see from here, is that it automatically finds these changes in price action and automatically puts support and resistance lines in for you. Now, if you want to do some technical analysis, especially on a new coin, for example, I'll go back over to AVAX. Like today was the first time doing some technical analysis on AVAX, say for example you have a new coin that you want to do some technical analysis in, you'd have to go through and do this, and sometimes it can be time consuming because you've done it on one time frame, maybe you want to go into a smaller time frame and add a couple more, and all this stuff takes time. Now, what this Moonland Pro does, it does everything automatically for you. All you have to do pretty much is so they have a search bar here, and as you can see, they've got a load of different pairs that you can look at. Just click on Cardano and UST, and yeah, it's going to come up and show you the same thing. It's going to show you some nice support and resistance levels. So if you're looking at a new coin that you haven't done any technical analysis on, you want to know, okay, where's Cardano's next resistance level? Well, on the daily time frame that it's going to be about the 1.56 level. Again, here you can obviously change the time frame just like we were doing before, and then you can, even on the different time frames, then you can see the support and resistance zones on those time frames as well. And yeah, and also, so on this search bar, you can add little favorites, and then they will appear there in the top left. Let's see if we can add Cardano on now, and there you go, it adds Cardano onto the top left. So yeah, this is just a little tool that I thought was cool and come in useful, especially for beginners. Obviously, if you're a beginner, you want to be getting over and practicing this stuff yourself. But if you do want some technical analysis and you want to know where some support and resistance is on a certain coin that you've never done technical analysis on before, then you can definitely save some time using a tool like this. And so yeah, that's about it for today, guys. So thanks for listening to the tutorial, and until next time, bye.